Cameron here from Alchemy Cycle Trader. Today we're here to talk to you about cleaning your bike. Every time we finish our ride, we spend around 5 minutes staring at our phone. Here we have a bucket of soapy water, some chain cleaner, dry wax, and a brush. First, we start by spraying our chain cleaner onto the drivetrain, around the chain rings, the chain, and the cassette. I then spray some of the chain cleaner into the brush. Then spinning the cranks, holding the brush over the cassette. In behind the jockey wheels as well. Again, using the cranks to help clean the drivetrain. I then place the brush behind the chain rings as well. And the good thing about doing it this way is that you're actually using the momentum of the chain and the rings to clean itself. I like to get on the outside of the chain rings as well, make them nice and shiny again. Now, it definitely looks like we're making it worse, but we're doing that before we make it better. Now, using the pressure of the chain against the chain rings here, you can actually clean the outside of the chain, as you can see. Now, I usually like to start with the drivetrain. As you'll notice, it actually gets a lot of dirt and grime on the actual bike itself. So if we start this way, it means that we don't end up with the dirt back on a clean frame. You'll also see there that the brush is quite black, obviously a lot of grime on the bike there. Once we've done that, we hose off the drivetrain. Now, it is worth noting that you don't need a high pressure hose. They can often do more damage to the bike than good. We just use a standard, almost regular garden hose. It actually doesn't have as much pressure, and it means that you won't do any damage to your hubs on your bike. Now, I keep in the habit of keeping a bucket of soapy water by the back door at all times. Now, this means that I can just pull the sponge straight out of the bucket, some clean soapy water in there, start rubbing the frame down there, getting as much of that grime off as you can. Now, the idea is that if you do this regularly enough, there shouldn't be too much to clean. Obviously, some rides can be worse than others. Get in around the key areas, under your brake blocks, particularly where dirt is actually going to flick up from the tyres as well. We then hose the bike down, get all that soapy water off the frame. Putting a clean rag around the chain, we then rotate the cranks backwards to dry the chain and the entire drivetrain. This here is Morgan Blue Dry Wax. This is our most popular selling chain lubricant at the shop. Reason being, wax actually binds to a chain. Now, the beauty of a wax means that because it actually has that ability to hold onto your chain, it therefore repels water and dirt. It means it's more durable, and my personal favorite, keeps it cleaner for longer. Now, it's important that we make sure that the drivetrain is dry before we apply our wax, otherwise it doesn't bind properly. We simply put the nozzle of the wax on the inside of the chain here, deliberately not the outside. We then spin the cranks backwards to get good coverage of the chain. I do 2 full revolutions of the chain through the bike. So you will see the wax be applied onto each gear as I run it up the cassette. And all the way back to the bottom again, getting full coverage of that cassette. And then into the little chain ring on the front as well to get some extra coverage there. And then back up to our big ring. You'll notice that the wax is currently white on the chain and cassette and the big chain ring at the front there. You need to let it sit for between 5 and 10 minutes until it dries clear. and that way it actually hardens and bonds to your drivetrain. Once the wax is bonded to the chain, we then apply half a chain's worth of Morgan Blue race oil. The Morgan Blue race oil is a low friction lubricant. The point of this is to allow for a faster, smoother shift. We then apply the race oil to half of the chain. Once applied, we then run our gears from the smallest cog to the top cog to get that full coverage of the cassette. And then the same on the front chainring as well. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or get in contact with us at alchemycycletrader.com.au.